I will call the meeting to order. If everyone could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, liberty. All right. First, I'd like to make a note. Executive sessions were held on 5/28, as well as prior to this evening's meeting for legal and labor issues. Next on the agenda, we opening comments. Commissioner Evans.
Welcome, everyone. Glad you could join us this evening. Our meetings continue to be a place to hear and be heard, where we all can be a part of the solution. Just a reminder, your questions or statements regarding agenda items only will be entertained under citizens to be heard. All other matters will be recognized at the end of the meeting during public comment. For the past 4.5 years, this board has provided opening comments at the top of our meetings. What started out as a way of ensuring our residents that we were not the great and powerful Oz, but rather employees of the citizenry, here to work with them openly and honestly, has over time evolved into a living thing. Like all living things, the messaging grew and changed in accordance with the needs of any given day. Good, bad, scary, promising, celebrations, blah, 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 blah. The list goes on, but above all, it has been a steady reminder to be kind to each other. And like all living things, the end comes. The board at this point has determined that they're no longer necessary. Achieved our goals of bonding and getting things on a better, more even keel with people. Moving forward, each one of us will share a month, take a month to open up with a hello to you all. So tonight will be the last time we open our meetings with this simple thought, but I hope you'll carry it all with you every day. When we all work together, there's nothing we can't do. So spread kindness, everyone. Anger, grudges, and resentments are not worth our time or energy. Compassion, peace, and love, these are what make the world go round.
Thank you, Commissioner Evans. All right. Next on the agenda is citizens to be heard. Do we have any here in the Township building at this time? With no hands raised, do we have anyone in Zoom? Then you put it down, or we can ask. It's a positive accident. Dawn, are you there?
Sorry, I must have hit it by mistake. I have nothing to add except thanks for those great opening comments, Mark.
Yes, Dawn. We can see you there, but we don't hear you.
Oh, sorry.
It says she is talking, but nothing. Do we have volume?
I'm so sorry to use up your time. I hit it by mistake. Thank you for the opening comments.
Yeah, we don't hear it.
Okay. Hey, Dawn, if you have a comment later, feel free to raise your hand. And with no other citizens to be heard, we can move on to awards and presentation. We have an award for Isabel Clark. Is it Isabel Clark? Isabel, how are you? Hi. What this is, Isabel has volunteered on the Park and Rec committee. She has offered her time for this township to help us out. Where am I going with my thought here? But it's only been about 2 years, I believe. Unfortunately, she's moving out of the township, so she is no longer allowed to be part of the committee, but she has stated that she will be here helping us out in the future. So, but I know you work directly with Miss Kennedy as well as Abby, and I would like them to just say a few words about you.
Good evening. I just want to, give you well wishes for all the new things that you endeavor, and we're definitely losing the gym. I don't want to see you at Valley Township. No, I'm just kidding. But I know that's your passion, and it will follow you wherever you go. So thank you for all that you've done to make Callan a much more beautiful place to live.
I second everything that Jane said. Isabel's been, when I looked up how long she had been on the board, I was shocked because it feels probably to you as well that it's been much, much longer than 2 years. But just full of great ideas. She's also been essential at bringing the rest of us back down to earth when necessary. She has tons of experience working with kids and programming, and she spends all day doing that and then volunteers to come and help us do it some more. So I think that's pretty amazing, and we're really going to miss you. Thank you.
Isabel. And just so everyone knows, sometimes volunteering your time and service for a township committee is thankless, but here we can actually give you a certificate to say thank you for all your time served here in the township. But you can hold on to it, look at it, enjoy it.
Thank you.
All right. It's a long meeting. All right. Yeah. I feel bad I didn't sign it. Okay. Next on the agenda, we have the township solicitor, Ms. Camp.
Thank you. The first, there's two items dealing with Bondsville Road Realty Ventures LLC. That entity owns two parcels of property that are at 415 Bondsville Road. The property is in the R4 medium to high density residential district. In 2013, the Board of Commissioners approved a conditional use decision and order that allowed the property owner to build a senior independent living facility with 57 units. Subsequent to receiving conditional use approval, the developer took that plan through preliminary land development approval and then also final land development approval. So in December, I think it was December, actually June, I'm sorry. Let me go back to my date. September of 2017 was received preliminary land development approval, and June of 2018 received final land development approval. The developer did not started some of the work with respect to stormwater management, did not substantially complete the public improvements. The township zoning ordinance has a provision that basically says that the conditional use approval expires if an applicant does not secure a building permit, or if no building permit is required, a use and occupancy permit within 12 months of the board's decision, but it does grant the board the ability to extend that time frame for the validity of a conditional use order. The applicant wrote a letter in February of 2024 asking the board to consider extending the conditional use approval. The applicant is here represented by counsel Gina Gerber. They indicated in the correspondence of February of 2024 that COVID was part of the delay, what put the project on hold. And the first request is that the board extend the conditional use approval. When this letter was written in February, and I believe the applicant came to your February 29th meeting to explain a little bit more about the delay, they were asking the extension to go through March 1st, 2025. And I had suggested to the board that given the time since the February letter, a year, if they are willing to grant an extension, maybe the year time frame would work. That would take it to May 29th of 2024. So that's the first issue that's before you.
All right, commissioners, any questions on this? None at this time. Residents here in the township building, any questions? None here in the township. Any on Zoom? All right. Well, there is? Yes, Mark, welcome.
Good evening. This matter was in front of
Who's
the zoning
talking, but
hearing.
we do not hear.
Was the problem with the last one too?
Can you hear me?
And with the problem on our end.
Mark, we see, says you're talking, but we hear nothing here in the township.
Yeah. Well, that's the same problem the other resident had because I heard her. I heard her speak, so she probably can hear me if she's still on. Well,
So working. Whoa. Okay.
hello.
Mark, apologize. We are having trouble hearing you. Still working it on our end. Yeah. You can hear me,
I can hear you.
just not from Zoom.
Can you hear me?
Still working on the technical difficulty.
Can you type in the chat? Type in the comments when you read it.
Mark, can you try saying something again?
He's gone.
I think he may he may have exited the meeting, but can you hear me?
Yeah. But
Ross, we can hear you just slightly.
Okay. Can you hear me a little bit better now?
A little bit better.
Well, if I'm
I mean, one other thing you could do, Abby, is have somebody call your cell, put yourself to the speaker.
Does that work?
They should just put it in the chat. Type it in the chat if they have a comment.
And Mark, if you can hear me, suggestion is being made to type your question in the chat. Maybe we can answer it through that way. Testing. You see somebody typing testing? Oh. Mhm.
Would somebody who zoomed in mind trying to type something in the chat just to test so we can see if we receive it?
Abby, this is Ross. I typed a few things into the chat. I'm not sure if you received them.
Barely hear him. Right?
What I said about Ross is he could call cell phone and you could put him up. Yeah.
Hey, Abby.
We can.
If the people online want to try, you can email me and I will read your question and then we can answer it. So my email is jyoung@callantownship.org.
Chat should be enabled now for the residents.
They said the chat's still not working.
A little bit different. Of course, now it's going to type everything that I say. So I need to watch everything that I say. Maybe a good idea to turn that feature on. Exactly. We cannot hear anyone on Zoom. Oh, we did? To be able to read it, but what is the reasoning behind it? They can hear us in Zoom. Okay.
Yes, we hear everybody fine in the Zoom world.
Okay. All right. So we can continue. Unfortunately, we may be limited on Zoom feedback. This will be different. Let's swing it. All right. Unfortunately, we're not able to attend to any of the Zoom comments. But we do have a motion here to approve the Bondsville Road Realty Ventures request to extend their conditional use approval for the senior independent living facility located at 415 Bondsville Road until, did we decide on March 1st? Or we were,
I had suggested if the applicant, because the time frame, the delay in when the letter was sent till now, a 1-year time frame may be appropriate, but that's up to the board. So we would say till May 28th, 2025,
well, today's May 30th.
or May 29th, then I'm sorry. So 1 year would be May 29th, 2025.
Okay.
May 30th.
All right. Well, with that motion, I entertain a motion to approve that.
What?
Just a year from today's date.
2025. Second.
Yeah, moved by Commissioner Kennedy, second by Commissioner Tindaro. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
The second part of the Bondsville Road Realty Venture request is, as I mentioned, they did obtain preliminary land development approval.
Scamp, I'm sorry, did we not have a full vote here?
Yeah, I didn't vote.
Oh, I'm sorry, I could have sworn I heard something. Okay, so we have 4 yays and Mark, what are you voting, nay or?
I'm gonna have to vote no.
Okay, 4-1, motion still passes.
Okay.
Okay.
So the second is the applicant has requested that the board agree to extend the life of the land development approval. So the state law says that the once an applicant receives preliminary land development approval, they have a period of 5 years to substantially complete the improvements. As I mentioned in the introductory remarks, the applicant has not substantially completed the improvements, but the law does allow an applicant to ask the board to extend that time frame. I want everyone to understand that when the 5-year window expires, and that's 5 years starts from the date of preliminary plan approval, it does not render null and void the approval. It means that the applicant would have to go back, if the board doesn't extend it, would have to go back and bring the plan current to any ordinances that were adopted since the date of preliminary plan application. So the applicant has asked the board if you would agree to extend the time frame on the validity of the plan, basically, and not require them to have to comply with ordinances that have been adopted by the board since the date of preliminary plan application. So that's the request.
Commissioners, any questions?
And I will also add that Ray and I have had some conversations and did a little bit of research in terms of what ordinances were adopted that would affect the plan. And the only one that we're really aware of is the stormwater management ordinance. So that's the biggest change. The board adopted a new stormwater management in 2022.
Yeah, I just had a couple of comments, not so much questions. I like you, and you know I like the you know your love for historic preservation, and I respect what you want to do. However, the location there, had I been on the board in 2013 when it was discussed, or in 2016 when it was approved, and I know I don't have any control over what happened then, but seeing how climate change has affected the township here, I moved here in 2017, and I've seen it decline in a horrible way, and I've seen. I would have never approved what got you here. You know, I want you to do something here. I worry too much for the people on Park Drive who, you know, Paul Mullen and I were out giving, relief packages to after Ida, and the people behind the Thorndale Inn and down the road. What you've got going on there, what anyone does when you disturb the earth and you disturb the water flow, it goes north, south, east, and west, not just within your, one controllable piece of land. So, since stormwater has changed, and I know you did some very robust stormwater planning back then. Since it has changed, I'd be much more comfortable of going through the process with our new ordinance in effect.
If you can, come up to the
Oh,
mic,
yeah.
please. Just name.
Yes.
We have on our end, our professionals have looked at the new ordinances with regards to stormwater, and we do meet those ordinances by and large with our plan. Mr. McClintock, who was the former engineer, made us kind of over-engineer at the time, and we fought him at the time. But I thank him now because we do fit that peg into that hole.
The commissioner's comments?
It is, it's all.
This will be interesting. I agree with Commissioner Evans. And looking at this whole project here with the new stormwater management requirements, even though you say most likely what you've done is equivalent to what is needed present day, which may make your process a little bit easier, but I think for the residents and for the township, my suggestion would be to deny this section of it, just to go back through it, just to make sure that the stormwater management is taken care of properly. I know that's not what you wanted to hear, but I think we are obligated to protect our residents. The stormwater is an issue throughout this entire township. In fact, the two people behind you, I know for a fact, are going to come up later and talk to me about their stormwater issues. So this is why it's very, very important. Hopefully, what you've done is just going to get you through the process a little bit quicker. But that's my 2 cents. Anyone else has, commissioners, any other comments?
No.
Not, I'll reach out to the residents here. Not see any hands raised here in the township building yet. Any in Zoom world?
Yes.
Well,
Maybe we might get their type.
are they typing?
Yeah,
Ms. Pauling, if you can shoot Josh an email. Commissioner Young, email. Assume it would be a sentence. I hate to drag this out. If we do receive it, we can always come back to the comment. Okay. So Cheryl, if you're still typing, continue that. Just shoot the email to Commissioner Young. That works as well. Cheryl?
Call my phone. I'll put you on the microphone. If you hear this.
Never had this done.
Hi, Cheryl. I'm going to put you on the microphone here.
Thank you.
You're on.
Okay. Your entire system is dead. I can't type to you. I can hear everyone who is talking to you, and I can hear you talking. but I can't communicate with you except by phone. So, I applaud you for suggesting that you deny approval of that project and sending the developer back through the process. We all know that flooding in that area has been a serious and reasonably serious concern of everyone who lives there. And flooding is not getting better. So I'm happy to see you do that. That was my comment.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thanks, Cheryl. Mark Fox, you want to call me too?
Did he have his hands raised at that time?
He did at the beginning of this.
But it was for another item. No other hands raised? And then I will entertain a motion to not approve Bondsville Road Realty Ventures request to extend the 5-year window to sustain that word?
Substantially.
Thank you. Complete the improvements from the approved final land development plan for the 415 Bondsville Road.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Evans, second by Commissioner Young. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And motion's good. Good. 5-0. To apologize, but I think it is in the best interest of the township at this time. Thank you.
And we'll see you soon.
The next action under mine is the mobile food facilities ordinance. This is something I know you're working with Ray very carefully on. All we did was take the language that you had previously approved and we put it into an ordinance format. That's really all we're doing. We're creating a new chapter of the county code, chapter 100, and we're putting it into section numbers the way we typically see your chapters in your code book. So the action item would be to authorize this to be advertised, and it could be adopted at your, I don't know which meeting you want to do it at. I think you do usually do it at your second meeting. So you could advertise it for your meeting in June.
We've dwelled over this a bit too long, but if everyone's happy with the final result, we definitely want to thank our township manager and Ray for finally putting this all together. Different angle, worked out good. Commissioners, any comments? At this time, residents here in the township building? No hands raised in Zoom world? No hands raised. All right, entertain a motion to advertise. Advertise, okay. So moved by Commissioner Evans, second by Commissioner Kennedy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion's good, 5-0.
That's all I have. So thank you very much and good evening.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Thank you very much, Kristen.
Thank you, Chris.
We're gonna get our engineer on the phone.
Looking at like clockwork, he goes. All right. Oh, I forgot you can hear what I'm saying. You got to mute yourself, Ross.
Okay.
On your computer.
I am muted on my computer. Oh, I got to turn my speakers off. Okay. Yes, I'll hear you through the phone. Okay. Sorry about that.
Welcome, Ross.
Good evening. Can you hear me okay, or should I speak up more?
No, you're good to go.
Okay, great. All right, thanks. So, the first order of business for this evening is the 2024 road program. So you'll probably recall that last meeting, we discussed the scope of that program. So the Suzanne Drive, Morgan Drive, Longview Drive, and Ridgeview Drive. So that's all the same as we previously discussed, and we would be seeking your approval to go ahead and put this out to bid. And just one slight deviation from the package that we sent you, based on some feedback that we've received from PennDOT today, that we'd asked them a while ago and they finally got back to us. We would be looking to publish the advertisement the first time on June 6th, rather than June 3rd, as noted in the that proposed bidding schedule.
What day was that? June 6th?
As opposed to June 3rd.
Oh, okay, just 3 days later. All right. That was the big update. Commissioners, any questions on that? This is just this encompasses all four. We have three roads under the base bid, then the one alternative.
That's correct. There's 3 roads in the base bid and an ad alternate for Suzanne Drive. But as Commissioner Young was mentioning last meeting, even if there was a slight shortfall in the liquid fuels funds, it would make sense to just make up that balance with the general fund. So we would anticipate that the ad alternate would likely be accepted.
Okay, yeah, that would make sense since they're right there. All right, entertain a motion to approve the Gilmore and Associates to put the 2024 road program out to bid per the attached dates, maps, and cost estimates.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Kennedy, second by Commissioner Tindaro. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Motion's good, 5-0. Next item, Ross?
Thank you. Yes, so the next item is the Reed Street project. So just to give you an update, that's the bulk of the work is complete and they're just cleaning up some punch list items now. So it looks like we're on track to come in just slightly under budget on the original bids. So that seems to be working out well. And this, in front of you tonight, is a request to authorize their payment request number 8 in the amount of $215,000. Sorry, $215,432.40 payable to Foresight Concepts for the Reed Street Drainage Project.
Commissioners, any questions on this? Okay. Residents, any questions? None here in the township building? Any in Zoom? None at this time? I'm just looking at the diagram. All right, entertain a motion to approve payment number 8 in the amount of $215,432.40 for Foresight Concepts, Reed Street Drainage.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Young, second by Commissioner Tindaro. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Motion's good, 5-0. Yeah, next.
Thank you. Yep. And so the next item is an update on the Spackman Davis farmhouse roof project. So we've been working on updating the design plans and specifications. So if you can see, I'm not sure if the screen is showing, but you can see that we've updated to the metal roof strategy that we discussed. And then also been working on some of the anchoring details for the porch to the structure. And so the update I wanted to give you is that the whole bid package should be ready for your next meeting. So at next meeting, we anticipate we'd be requesting authorization to put it out to bid. And then if that is granted, we would be putting it up, like the next day after next meeting.
Okay, great update. Yes.
Thanks, Ross.
Appreciate the work on this.
Sure.
All right, I'm hanging up on you now.
Take care, Ross.
Oh, we had
Wait, one more thing,
Oh.
Ross.
the
We do?
grant.
No, that's
Is that it, Suzanne?
Township manager.
Okay.
All right, next on the agenda, Township manager. Gilmore and Associates grant opportunity.
Good evening, commissioners. Good evening, public. And want to say, apologize for those on Zoom. We will be getting this resolved well before the next meeting. Technology is great when it works, and when it doesn't, especially in public meetings, it can be frustrating. So thank you everyone for your patience, and we'll have someone in first thing in the morning to take care of this. I have a number of items here this evening. The first, let's start out with some good news, at least preliminarily. As you recall, several meetings ago, I received approval to submit a pre-application, a scoping application for the RLEAP grant fund. That's funded out of the red light enforcement in the city of Philadelphia. We submitted for 2 locations on Lincoln Highway. Those locations, and I want to thank the chief for his support, have been problematic with pedestrian cyclists, primarily due to limited lighting and inadequate pedestrian access. The application was for just shy, the preliminary application was for just shy of $500,000 for improvements at these 2 locations. We received feedback from PennDOT, essentially a green light and a red light program to proceed with the full application. The first item on my list here, Ross provided initial preliminary support on cost estimates and technical matters associated with the pre-scoping application. This would be to establish a PSA for any sort of enhanced technical support and any meetings that we have to meet with PennDOT or meetings in general. The amount is not to exceed $3,000, and we'll move forward with the deadline is end of June.
Commissioners, any questions on that?
Congratulations for hard work. Thank you.
Residents, any questions? None here in the township building, in Zoom. Yeah, entertain a motion to approve Gilmore and Associates for the not to exceed cost of $3,000.
So moved.
Second.
Well worth it. Moved by Commissioner Evans, second by Commissioner Kennedy. All in favor? Say aye.
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 Motion passes 5-0. Next, we have Park and Rec. Designation. I guess we need to just accept it.
This is to formalize as alluded to earlier with the award presentation.
She just
but
ran. Did you see
I
that?
know.
She's very busy.
She just, yeah.
But we did receive a letter on May 1st from Isabel Clark indicating that she would be unfortunately needing to resign from the position, and this would be to formally accept that letter of resignation.
And if we don't accept, she has to stay in Count Township.
Yeah.
Yes.
Be nice.
Smooth.
Well, I know she's going to be back. All right, commissioners, any questions on this? If not, entertain a motion to accept.
Move.
Moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Kennedy, second by Commissioner Young. All in favor? Say aye.
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 Motion passes 5-0. Thank you so much, Isabel, for all your work, wherever she is. All right, we do have an appointment. Action item here.
Yeah, vacuums are filled quickly. We do have an applicant that is interested in filling those shoes. The board had the opportunity to meet with this individual, Katie Rochelle, earlier, and the board is eligible to appoint this individual to the board to fill that open vacancy.
Commissioners, any comments, questions?
Be a great addition.
We had a lovely interview prior to tonight's meeting with her. I think she's just going to fit in just great. She already has friends on the board.
Yep.
And she is definitely
Hit the
looking forward
ground.
to hit the ground running.
All
So-
yours, Abby.
The bad. And Liz.
Yes.
Yeah, she spoke very highly of Liz.
Yeah.
All right, no questions here, so I will entertain a motion to appoint Katie Burchell.
Brochel.
She.
Brochel.
Brochel.
I apologize. I butcher
broach.
pretty much every name that comes across my desk.
Like a
So
brooch.
moved.
Okay, so moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Evans, second by Commissioner Kennedy. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Motion's good. 5-0.
Great.
Welcome aboard, Katie.
Is she still here?
No, she
I do not
left.
believe so.
No, she didn't stay.
Moving right along, Downingtown Library donation.
And I know the first meeting's coming up on Monday. So hit the ground running with the new appointed member. Next we have, and this is, no action is required specifically for this item. It was approved in the budget, but it was recommended. We did receive a donation letter from Downingtown Library. And I know in the past, the board has recognized the contributions they provide from the township to support library efforts in Downingtown and Coatesville. And The budgeted amount coming through was 18,150, which is similar to prior years.
I understand our own Commissioner Young is also on the Downingtown Board,
I am.
Library Board. Would you like to make a comment or a statement?
No, since nobody is here from the library, I'll just give a brief. I'll tell you a brief story quickly about something somebody said to me one time. We think about libraries a lot of times as children's books and children activities and things like that. There was a gentleman that one time, this is for the Coatesville Library, but it's always stuck with me, is that the board president saw somebody coming in every day, grabbing the papers, getting on the internet, because there is internet access for people who don't have it at the library. And that gentleman was a convicted felon and struggling to get a job and get his life back in order. And he said without the library, he would have no hope of finding a job or the ability to get himself back on track. So that's what libraries do for the community. Not only do they do children's events, and they do have books and volumes of DVDs and movies, and there's also cards to go to the zoo and things like that. But for a lot of people, the library provides hope and the ability to mobilize themselves again and get back on track. So that story always stuck with me, and that's why I'm on a library board.
Yeah, they're quite a resource center now, to help a lot of people transitions.
And it costs money to put on this. We do get state funding, we get county funding, but we also rely heavily on the municipalities to fund our programs and people to run the library during the day. So, it is a indispensable place in our community.
Because
once they got rid of the card filing system, I could not
Days of
figure that
old.
out to save my life. I'm not wired that way.
Well, thank you, and we will get that payment processed right away.
Excellent.
Perfect. Thank you. I know it would take me forever to find the letter that was sent out. I forget her name, but it was beautifully written. In the one paragraph, I just remember reading it. She described what the library looks like from her desk, the activity going on, and it just the way she wrote it, I could tell she's a writer. You felt like you were in the library.
That's our new director, and she's really hit the ground running, and has some innovative and progressive things that she wants to get done. So, I would keep an eye on the Downingtown Library because we're looking for expansion. The place is so busy all the time. There's no room for other events. And if you've ever been to the library during book sale time, it's absolutely crazy in there. And they raised about $8,000 selling used books. So the Friends of Downingtown Library put that on, and they graciously donate that money to the library.
It's time for a visit.
Excellent.
All right.
Anytime you want.
Next on the agenda?
Next on the agenda, we have the updated version of the honorary street name designation signs. Following the last meeting, guidance was to request a mock-up of the signs dedicated to, and then the names of the individuals. Copies of these examples are in your packet, and if the board would be interested in action to move this forward, we would be able to place the order. It would take, correct me if I'm wrong, Director Huggins, but approximately a week or two in order to get these back, and then we can schedule a grand unveiling at your convenience.
They look nice.
Those of you in
They look
the
fantastic.
township, yeah, it
Dedicated
really turned out
to.
nice. I think the
Nice
dedicated
job,
to
Mr.
is
Huggins.
The
growing
color
on.
gonna be blue. It is gonna be blue and white.
Blue.
Yes.
That was, yes.
Okay. I was just wondering.
Very good job.
Yep.
Commissioners, any other comments on this?
No. it's
Beautiful.
I just want to ask, if it's not too much to ask, the family will be traveling here from Texas,
Oh, yeah.
and they were looking to see if we could accommodate them, possibly in the morning on June 16th. I think she said June 13th, maybe. Something like that. Gave me a few dates because they're traveling here for a graduation. They don't want to go back to Texas, so if we can get them, I mean, we're talking about a short, maybe 5 minute period of time, 5-10 minutes to get together.
For the
Just to
dedication?
witness
No,
it, yeah.
that's a whole afternoon.
No,
That's
it
a
will
big
not
thing.
be
That's
the
a
whole afternoon.
cookies and hot chocolate.
June 13th is a Thursday.
Is that a Thursday?
June
What is the
16th is a
16th?
Sunday, and it's
Is that a
Father's
Sunday?
Day.
No, that,
How soon?
What are we looking to do?
Yeah. How soon can you get those in?
The signs?
Yeah.
I can call tomorrow and have them next week.
let me see the dates they sent. Wednesday, June 12th or the 13th. Wednesday or Thursday, the 12th or the 13th of
weeks.
June.
So
All we can do is try.
I can have them.
Yeah, I can make afternoon work. Either of them.
Yeah, I have them for you.
So you think around lunchtime, 11 o'clock, something?
We can set that.
Only because they're traveling out of state. Get a general
Just to
idea.
show them the signs and have them here so they can review them. Is that what we're talking
Or
about?
you're talking about
Yes,
putting them up
they're
on
going.
the-
She's going to actually going to be here on site to unveil the sign.
They want to have a
So they
Yeah.
want them installed.
Yes, to unveil.
All right. I can
That
make it.
gives us about what, 2 weeks,
Yeah, I
two
can
and a
manage
half
that.
weeks.
And perhaps we can set up a time to sit down and
Yeah, we
discuss
can
what they
discuss
would be
that.
interested
Once you get them
in.
in and get them installed.
We can make that happen.
Jane,
Appreciate it.
I can be available in the afternoon after 12 on Wednesday,
Is that the
12th, and I can be anytime on the 13th.
Okay.
12th.
Wednesday.
As you
What about you guys? The 12th?
You're gonna miss that meeting?
12th was good for you, like at 11 o'clock?
I'm fine, yeah. I'm flexible.
What time?
The 12th was good for you, Josh, at 11? You're out of town
You
that
can-
week?
What time is this?
We will still need a motion to we will still need a motion to
So far, we're
approve
with the
the
12th.
sign design in order to order them.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I was just waiting for them to finish off their date there, but
Okay.
I will entertain a motion to approve the honorary street name designation sign.
So moved.
Second.
I moved by Commissioner Evans, second by Commissioner Kennedy. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Can't make it on the 12th.
Motion passes 5-0. Yes, Tony. The names, George Eggleston and Thelma Vaughn. Bishop, George.
Yours is coming, Tony.
No, you get a bench, Tony, on the trail.
Along the
You know
trail.
that.
You're not available on the 12th.
Yeah, I can't on the.
We'll have to see if they can do the 13th.
2517. When you
On the
did this
13th.
Davis, Spackman
Okay,
Davis
for
Farm,
11 a.m.
you didn't ask the residents if there's any questions.
And that's in.
We haven't
Oh,
gotten
which
to
one?
that
The
agenda.
roof
yet.
project?
That's next. Oh, the roof project?
That was just the update.
A grant for that?
We working off of a grant or we're just putting it out to bid?
We are looking at grants, but for this project, it's funded through open space funds, which were received from developers. So it wouldn't be taxpayers. It's funds that were received from any sort of project, and it's a fee in lieu of for open space. So these funds would go towards that.
Thank you, Tony. Next on the agenda, 4.6.
Well, speaking of the Spackman Davis Farm, we have two requests from the Friends of Spackman Davis Farm. The first 4.6 is a request. An application was submitted for an event on June 29th. And a component of the application is a fee based on the number of participants that will be attending the event. In this case, it's up to 150 people. It's $50. 150 to 250 would be 75. There's a request to waive that fee for this case.
Commissioners, any comments? I see we have somebody standing up here in the township building. Did you want to make a comment there?
Good evening. Donna DePrincio.
Yeah,
Representing,
that's easier.
representing the Friends of Spackman Davis Farm, and that is a 501c3. I wanted to, on behalf of the Friends of Spackman Davis Farm, request the fee waiver for the public gathering application. And the Friends of Spackman Davis Farm was formed out of a need to support the township's effort at Spackman Davis Farm, and the township will be the sole beneficiary of a successful event on June 29th. And as a new 501c3, we need all the help we can get to minimize upfront event costs. We hope you approve it.
Thank you, Donna. Any other comments from here in the township building? None at this time.
Oh, just for the record,
Oh, yes.
is it July 29th or June 29th?
June 29th.
Okay, because it has July on our records.
The next.
Oh,
We're
right.
for the motion, it has July 29th.
No, it's June
No,
29th.
but it says July 29th.
Okay. All right. Any comments from Zoom? None at this time.
Just call any one of us if you want to say anything.
As a kind gesture, help out the Friends of Spackman Farm, and for this event, I will entertain a motion to waive the Friends of Spackman Davis Farm Public Gathering Event Application Fee of $75. I assume it covers between 250 to 500 visitors.
From a parking standpoint, I don't believe that is a target.
No.
Okay. So $75.
So moved.
All right, so moved.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Tindera, second by Commissioner Kennedy. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we do have 4.7.
4.7 is related to the same event. The township code prohibits alcohol use in public parks unless the board allows that use to occur. There's a request for, my understanding it's wine and cider. Portion of those costs would be used to support the fundraising efforts of the nonprofit. So the request before the board currently would be to allow for alcohol use on this property for the event.
All right, commissioners, any comments?
I don't have a comment, but I have a concern. You know, by doing this, are we gonna open this up so that every time somebody has an event in Callan Township at one of our parks, are they gonna request this and then we deny it for them but we permit it as a use here? I don't know if this is opening up Pandora's box. I'm just concerned because everybody's gonna want to do this. And it'll be the first time that we've done it that I know of.
Jane, we used to have a beer garden at Community Day. So we have sold alcohol.
I understand that community day, but what if somebody else wants to have an event at municipal?
Well,
park?
that's up to the discretion of the board.
In this particular case, and just be careful just not to wade too far into it. The Historical Commission is connected with this group, so it is free and more along the lines of a community day. So.
Well, like I said, I
And
mean,
if I
that
can
was
just,
only my only concern. I'm
No.
not for it or against it one way or the other, but you know, we're taking on quite a bit of liability, you know, as a body. You know, of course, if anything happens to anyone leaving those grounds intoxicated, you know, how do you control, you know, how much wine someone consumes at these type of events?
Jane, their
Good question.
permit
Yeah.
to sell wine is based on that. You know, if they overserve someone, you know, these organizations still have Alcoholic Liquor Control Board permits. So if they overserve someone, they are also on the hook for that.
So they have their own liability
Did
to
Dressler-
do
I'm
that,
sorry,
Yes.
go ahead.
and they will provide that to our
Don
Township?
can speak
And-
more to that.
In
Commissioner
order to
Kennedy.
serve an offsite for an event of this sort, they would be required to have the proper license through the LCB. They grant a certain number for Pennsylvania-based wineries, breweries, and the like, distilleries. Anyone serving alcohol at any event under one of those satellite licenses would be required to have, I believe it used to be called TIPS trained. It's safe serving standards.
Ramp now,
It's ramp.
RAMP.
I thought they changed it.
Yeah.
But they would be required to have proper coverage and training and certification in order to attend and provide any sort of alcohol at any event anywhere.
And I think that's different than somebody having a family reunion in the park where you're just bringing random people are bringing alcohol and over serving people. These people still
But if
can't.
they wanted to bring a license, provider, then we would have to, they would
I
have to
think
come
if-
before us to get a permit to do that.
Well, they would have to come to us to get that permission.
Right.
But I think for me to approve any kind of thing, it would have to have some kind of community benefit.
And I think this should probably be written in our ordinance somewhere because it's just something new. I just never saw it or read anything about it. So, it's going to be something new and people are going to want to do it all the time. So we just need to set up some kind of standards or codes how what it looks like.
Does Dress Lights, did they have their ramp training and all the licenses?
Yes, I believe so. And Commissioner Kennedy, I understand your concern. I wanted to just share as far as, the Spackman Davis Farm, the Friends of Spackman Davis Farm are, trying to think of ways to help the farm. And with the big ticket items of repair and replacement of windows, shutters, flooring, the crumbling stone walls, we need big ticket donors. So it is common practice for the nonprofits to generate donations directly and indirectly through the sale of wine and or beer. The wine vendor that we have is Dressler Estates, and they have all the prerequisite licenses, completed state mandated, which is called RAMP, which stands for Responsible Alcohol Management Program. They have the training for that to serve the customers. And they do have a ton of experience in outdoor events and farm markets. So hopefully that helps to.
Well, it does. I mean, it'd be the same if the golf course wanted to do an event,
Sure.
a beer garden. I just think there ought to be something in our codes that govern how these things look. Because they're going to come up,
Codes now.
yeah, about alcohol beverages and what the
Well,
licensing and protection should be.
And at the golf course, we do have a liquor license to serve beer.
Right.
So, we offer alcoholic beverages on that property.
Right. This is nothing towards Spackman Davis Farm. It's just what does it read or look like in the township code and ordinance across the board? Because anybody may come and want to do this over and over and time again. What are our guidelines and ordinances? What it looks like. That's all.
Yeah, I guess anyone who wanted to come before us and ask for it would need to have all the PA licensures and.
Right, but I just said, is
So-
that written in our codes of ethics? That's what I'm saying. Let's make it real.
I
Should
think-
be.
so
It
that
never
anybody
should
can
be.
do it.
Should be.
I think the issue here really is the event at Spackman Farm. One is going to be a community event. Two, it's going to be in the middle of June or at the end of June where it's blistering hot. You're going to have alcohol or possibly alcohol there. I don't think this is the right environment. I will say this up front. I am not for this only because I do not believe that these events should have alcohol. These should be community events. The fundraising that you're talking about, the big ticket items, usually end up in a country club somewhere where you have air conditioning and you have a bartender and it's a closed area. Here, you got porta potties you have to walk up the hill to get to. I just don't think that this is the right environment to offer the wine. The cider, I assume the cider is not spiked. Is it?
Yes.
The cider spiked?
Yes.
Okay.
It's brewed. It's
And
like
so it is, it may be hot,
I haven't been to a party in a while, apparently. Yeah.
What were they?
but it's
what were
during
they
the daytime.
offering?
So that's also a good thing that it's during the daytime versus nighttime. But it is a fundraising event for, yeah,
It is a fundraising event, but it's also supposed to be a community event.
of course.
We don't know if you have children there. the adult, the mixture. This is my concern
Right.
about it. It's an outdoor activity. A lot of times, if you have these so-called big ticket donors coming into a party, it's usually in a different venue.
Sure. The thing is, and I'll just say this
Mhm.
and let it be. The vendor that we have, the Dresslers, they have the training and the licenses. So they have things at stake as well. So they're not gonna, risk that either.
They offered, they're selling a glass of wine for $5. They're only keeping the first dollar of it and donating the next $4. In the fundraising world, it's almost, said jokingly, but you hand a potential donor a glass of wine, check gets bigger. So a lot of fundraising techniques are been, and frankly, the Spackman, the people from the Spackman family, I won't say anymore. It's almost a necessary piece.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah,
I understand
so
that.
it's,
I've been to auctions.
I don't even
and-
drink, but I see the purpose of it. So,
and
and
once again, if we were indoors or if we were in a different setting, this farmhouse is not really ready for the public. I'm not sure if everyone understands this, because we cannot park on the property. We actually have to park across the street and get on a trolley to come over. This is additional cost. I understand that, but this park, the house still needs work. Of course, that's what the fundraising is for. But there's a lot more involved that needs to be done before we really should be throwing, a lot of events. I mean, this is the beginning of it, and I am for that. I am for the attention to the farm itself, and letting the community know that there's more that's going to happen with this property. But and I'm only one vote, but I'm just stating that I don't think that this time around is the proper time to have alcohol, especially at the end of June, outside. But that's my 2 cents. I'll reach any other comments from Commissioner? Nope. Residents? Any comments? How about in Zoom? Donna, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming up and speaking the piece there. But I will entertain a motion to approve the Friends of Spackman Farm alcohol beverage use request for the event held on June 29th.
so moved.
Moved.
Second.
I moved by Commissioner Evans, second by Commissioner Young. All in favor? Say aye.
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 All opposed? Nay.
Nay.
Are you?
I'm not sure.
So Jane,
I'm gonna
you,
abstain also.
Abstain?
Yeah.
how does that work?
Yeah.
Because
How
technically
does-
we
It's
need
just
3
a nay
votes.
then.
Well, we
Yeah.
have 2 yes and
If-
1 no. Big. Look, however this ends up going, this was something that was discussed in depth at the last historical commission meeting. You were there,
Mhm.
and boy, you were asked if you had any input or concerns. It would have been great if you had shared that with us, so we had a place to run with. And Lorraine,
I
you've
was
been-
I was the third
Yeah,
commissioner at that meeting. I had no right to say anything.
and
I was mainly concerned.
yeah, you've been in all of the conversations with us
About
for
the
months.
coverage.
Yeah.
In terms
Right.
of them drinking the
Yeah.
heat. And if we would be responsible. That's where my concern
Right.
came in.
Yeah.
Was the main concern.
So the person serving the alcohol would be the liable person.
They would be liable.
Now, eventually, if something happened, of course, everybody gets sued and it's sorted out in court.
Would be
Yes.
But
sued also.
we have coverage to protect us from that.
Yeah.
So I don't. So there's 2 yeses,
Well,
1 no, and 3 or 2 abstentions.
There's 2 abstentions.
Mhm.
Lorraine said abstain and
I'm
Jane said
abstaining.
abstain. So I think it still has to clear 3 votes, doesn't it?
Definitely does.
An abstention really, to abstain, you have to have some type of
There's a reason.
reason why you're abstaining. So some conflict of interest or things like that. The abstention shouldn't be used just to not vote.
Well, can I call the vote again? See if it comes out different?
That would be yes.
So can we do a roll call vote?
Yeah.
Sure.
Roll call would be great.
We'll do a roll call vote. I will start with Commissioner Young,
Yes.
Commissioner Evans,
Yes.
Commissioner Mullen, no. Commissioner Kennedy,
No.
Commissioner Tindaro,
No.
3 noes. Does not pass.
We might have to cancel the event because advertising went out. A lot of advertising went out. And this was no surprise to anybody. Was presented to Parks and Rec. It was in proposals that you saw months ago.
And this was
It
on
could have been
tonight's,
slowed down
this
and
is on
stopped.
tonight's agenda.
Well, Mr. Mullen, this could have been discussed for a long time leading up to now. And, this is kind of like a torpedo.
This is my first time hearing it.
Jane, we presented this at
let's
Parks
move
and
on.
Rec.
We're done
I
discussing.
didn't hear it at Parks and Rec.
Well,
Right.
you were there.
Let's
I
move
was
on.
not there.
We are done. Let's move on. Next on the agenda, Commissioner or Township Manager.
Next on the agenda, and this has been presented at prior meetings. 4.8, it's acknowledged Civil Service Commission revised rules resolution. This was presented to the board. It was discussed at the Civil Service Commission meeting, and we do have the chair of the Civil Service Commission here this evening.
George.
And I know our Director Stackhouse has worked very hard on putting this together along with the Civil Service Commission. Essentially, this is to accommodate paid fire and incorporate paid fire into the Civil Service Commission rules, regulations, and authority.
Yeah, Commissioners, I would certainly defer to Chairman Marsh, but just to give you a quick background, at the last meeting I presented a draft change to the Civil Service Commission. Actually, I should say amendment. It wasn't really a change. We just made amendments that incorporated the paid fire staff, which is required to be hired by civil service. Now that we're at three career firemen, those changes were vetted through Chairman Marsh, and they had a meeting the other week, so I'll let him speak to that.
Yes, thank you. I'm
Welcome, George.
March, the chairman of the Allen Township Civil Service Commission. The rules, the Pennsylvania rules for first-class township code, provide it for Civil Service Commission to include language about police departments and police officers, and also about fire departments and firefighters. The former rules did not include any language at all about fire department or firefighters. So over the past couple of months, I would offer public thanks to Ray Stackhouse, Kristen Camp, for their very helpful, informative, and professional relationship with the Civil Service Commission while we brought the firefighter and fire department language into the Civil Service and revised and are now adoption.
The only thing I would add is that the Civil Service Board, read those changes, made a motion, and that passed, unanimously. And we're just asking for the board to basically ratify their vote.
Commissioners, any questions on this? Questions? Reach out to residents. Any residents here in the township building? Any questions? None at this time. Anyone from Zoom? Entertain a motion to acknowledge the Count Township May 22nd, 2024 revised Civil Service Commission resolution. So moved. Moved by Commissioner Young, second by Commissioner Kennedy. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Thank you very much, George.
Thank you.
Next, we have in a similar vein, the Civil Service Commission under code allows for 3 alternates on that board. With the expansion and inclusion of paid fire and the adoption of the updated rules, there was consideration towards allowing or approving 2 additional alternates with firefighting experience and background in order to serve as alternates on that important board. Those individuals attended the applicants for the position attended the Civil Service Commission board meeting in May, and I know the commissioners had an opportunity to meet with them earlier this week. 4.9 would be to appoint the individuals as alternates to the Civil Service Commission board.
Commissioners, any questions on this?
I would just note both have fire experience
Right.
and have been with the township in some capacity for some time, either the township or the fire department.
They were both excellent candidates.
They were both
Excellent
attended
candidates.
Civil Service Commission meeting, introduced themselves, gave us a full history of their background. Civil Service Commission members currently existing would appreciate their addition to the Civil Service Commission as always.
And how many folks do we already have on the civil board? 3?
Civil Service Commission consists of 3 permanent and 1 alternate at the present time. It's permitted to add 2 more alternates.
Okay, perfect. Commissioners, any other comments for the 2 candidates we have in mind?
No.
They're
They're
great
good candidates.
individuals.
Couldn't ask for 2 better guys for this position. So, all right, entertain a motion to appoint Michael Murphy and Ron Miller as Civil Service Commission alternates for the 2024 to 2029 term.
So moved.